Previously on the Exploring India edition.
Such a great emperor, if the pigeon will sit on the ark of your palace, that will become eagle. A poor man.
A time warp to the era of the Mughal empires and the rule of the Maharaja. The Exploring India edition of the Faizal show takes you on an adventurous journey, immersed in rich culture and history. India is the epitome of wisdom surrounded by history. Explore the bustling streets, the cuisine, and the life and path treaded by sages on this epic journey through India.
For Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya, the love of God implied the love of humanity. For me, what I take out of that is the selfless acts of these saints in the service of humanity. And that's something that you reflect on when you visit the very precincts of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. On this episode, we continue that journey. We remain in that very environment where Hazrat Amir Khusro is buried, the great Sufi poet, as you know. We spoke about their relationship and how that continued and how that all ended also. And then about that legacy where they're now they're buried in the very close precincts of each other. We continue that journey and we decide to go into the very area where Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya is buried. What was your thoughts when we went in there?
As I was saying, the just being in his presence, it's like being there, and like you're saying, being in his time, 1200 years ago, and the heart felt light, like you were in a, should I say, a completely different world in his presence.
What stands out for me is hearing their names all the time when you're back home in South Africa and you hear their biographies, and then when you actually go there, it puts a different meaning on all of that.
Yeah, the thing is, we are taught about these things. We read the books. I mean, I read the book on the Big Five, and they are the Big Five of.
Is that the J.W. Big one? I think. I think that's the Big Five. Yes.
Yeah, it was quite the old version. I read
it's
the very
the
old version, and the history about them, and the lives they led, and their discipline in the path, okay, of Sharia and Tariqah. So the Tariqah and the Sharia comes together in their life, and that's what it shows us. And people flock to them, by the millions. And I think we people that come from originally of Indian origin should be really thankful to them that they brought Islam to us in India. And today we are walking that path. And to go there and say, our forefathers or great-great-great-grandfathers were actually probably met them and they became Muslims, and that's how we are Muslims today.
Uncle Ahmed mentioned something very critical, and that is that people flock to these people in millions. And that's true. Everywhere we went, there was millions of people that wanted to go there, and over the years, millions of people have visited. But interestingly enough, when one looks at the demographics of all of that, you see in India, a very different scenario exists. An environment where Hindus, Muslims, Christians all coexist, and they all visit these very great personalities of Islam. Watch this. So there's lots of action behind me. We are in New Delhi, and this is the heartbeat of it all. The Dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. This is his mausoleum to my right hand side. The powers that be here has been very kind to us. Obviously, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya is one of the world's most famous Sufi saints who lived in the time between 1238 and 1325, and this is situated in the west area of New Delhi. The Dargah is visited by thousands of Muslims every week, and sees a fair share of Hindus, Christians and people from other religions come here from around the world. The tombs of the great poet Amir Khusro and Mughal princess Jehan Ara Begum are also located in this very precincts of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya, and that includes the tomb of Inayat Khan, which is just around the corner, of course, on that side. Sultan al-Mashaykh Mehboob Ilahi Hazrat Sheikh Khwaja Sayyid Muhammad Nizamuddin Auliya, also known as Hazrat Nizamuddin, was a famous Sufi saint of the Chisti Order in the Indian Subcontinent, an order that believed in drawing close to God through the renunciation of the world and service to humanity. He is one of the great saints of the Chisti Order in India. His predecessors were Fariduddin Ganjshakar, Bakhtiyar Kaki and Hazrat Moinuddin Chisti. In that sequence, they constitute the initial spiritual chain or silsila of the Chisti Order, widely prevalent in the Indian Subcontinent. Nizamuddin Auliya, like his predecessors, stressed love as a means of realizing God. For him, this love of God implied a love of humanity. His vision of the world was marked by a highly evolved sense of secularity and kindness. Again, love all, hate none.
सुल्तान मशायख हज़रत ख्वाजा सैयद निज़ामुद्दीन औलिया रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, आपकी बारगाह में तमाम लोग साउथ अफ्रीका से आपकी बारगाह में कबूल फरमा लीजिए। या हुजूर दुआ फरमा दीजिए, अल्लाह ताला इन सबकी उम्र में बरकत फरमा दे, रिज़्क़ में बरकत फरमा दे।
Rather electrifying experience. We for one, and I must say this because I think I say this out of all humility, but we've been treated very well. The fact that we are shooting here or filming here, as you want to call it, we've got certain privileges and rights. The place is half the time cleared for where we want to shoot. As you can see, nobody on this side again, and then a special Qawwali. There's generally Qawwali going on all the time, but I've heard that the Qawwals are here, especially tonight, a particular group, because we are here and we're filming, and Deen TV is here and the South African contingent is here, so we feel very honored and blessed for that. We want to later chat to Sayyid Fida. He's one of the key people around here, and once you know the key person, then you've got it all. A very deep construct in the Chisti Order is one of the great sayings of Hazrat Khwaja Moinuddin Chisti, where he said, "Love all and hate none." So we know that becomes a very central, focal, symbolical saying that sits in the very core of the Chisti Order. Have you come to terms with that on the trip itself? Have you seen that? Have you felt it? Or have you understood that more?
Wherever we've been to, we could feel the love. We could feel the love. Because the people flocking there, like you were saying, it wasn't just Muslims. It was anybody and everybody. Any religion, any community, any type of people, rich, poor, Muslims, non-Muslims, everybody's flocking there. Why would they go there? It's the love that's there that actually draws the people to them.
Now we've got some other visuals coming up later in the program when you guys were rushing on, and I know that you had this thing that myself and Ahmed were always late, and which we were, but we were taken to, I don't know if you recall that night, we came late to the bus. And that's
Yes.
And that's because Sayyid Vida took us to some back rooms where there was this well, and that well played a very important key role in incidences that happened at the time. And he also took us to places where these great saints sat and they had their meditations and that sort of thing. And when you sit there, you sort of reflect on that kind of thing, thinking that I personally can't come to much grips with the idea that this really happened all that time ago. And someone asked me the question today, and that is, how after all these years is that grave sort of preserved? I don't know if you maybe want to reflect on that. How after 800-900 years do you still find people going there? I mean, 800-900 years after we're gone, I'm not sure if people even would think about us the way that they do about these saints.
And the saying goes that if you are a man of Allah, people seek you. So people will seek them until the end of time. They are the friends of Allah, and friends of Allah are always being. People look for the friends of Allah to get some benefit out of them. Maybe you might go there, and in their presence you might feel something that you say, okay, changes your life completely. I mean, we have living walis or friends of Allah, we know, but most of the time they're hidden. But sometimes you meet people and you can feel that when you look at them, you feel the presence of Allah, or you think of Allah, and the same thing happens. I mean, if you go to visit the grave, I mean, people go there, what's in their heart you don't know. You know, why they're being there, what they're going for. But I think the saying of the Prophet ﷺ says that I do not fear that my people will do
Commit shirk.
Yes. Okay? So I think that he's just by him saying it protects us from committing shirk.
From that rich history, and I'm hoping on this thing of going, it does time warp you. I think for viewers at home it might be different. We're trying to capture everything that's going on, but for us standing in the very precincts, it does give you a sense that you've time warped into the Mughal Empire. And when you do that, you sort of, your mind time warps into the time that these saints lived. So your mind tries to envision that, is this the spot where they walked? Is that the spot that an incident happened perhaps? And those are the things that go through my mind. And again, Fidai puts that into a very good context when he puts us right into that perspective. Again, behind me, this is the Dargah of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya, and sitting here in a very peaceful space, I feel very honored and blessed to be talking to you, because generally there are hundreds and thousands of people that wish to have it as clear as it is here. But I suppose again, with the duties that you perform here, we are able to get that from you. Now, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya as a personality has very rich history again. And again, a beacon that after hundreds of years, we still reflect on that history from an educational point of view, and as a spiritual beacon, still guiding and leading the road hundreds of years later. Tell us a bit about that history.
Basically, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya Rahmatullah Alayhi's fathers belongs from the Central Asia, the place called the Bukhara. His fathers and the mother migrated from Bukhara, and at that time the center of Islam was in India, was in Badaयूं. So Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi father Sayyid Ahmad Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi and Hazrat Bibi Zulekha Sahiba settled in the Badaयूं area, that is the still district in the Uttar Pradesh district, in the Uttar Pradesh state. After getting the basic education from Badaयूं, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi migrated to Delhi. And from here he met Hazrat Najibuddin Mutawakkil rahmatullah alayhi, who was the brother of Hazrat Baba Fariduddin Ganjshakar rahmatullah alayhi. With Hazrat Najibuddin Mutawakkil rahmatullah alayhi, Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi went to the Khanqa of Hazrat Baba Fariduddin Ganjshakar rahmatullah alayhi, which was in the Pakpatan Sharif. At that time that place was known as the Ajhodan. Now that is the part of Pakistan. So Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi took the bath in the hands of Hazrat Baba Farid Ganjshakar rahmatullah alayhi, and the mission which was started by Hazrat Khwaja Moinuddin Chisti rahmatullah alayhi in India, that was on the peak in the time of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi, because Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi spread the message of equality, brotherhood, and there was no discrimination on the basis of caste, color, language, etc., which was prevailing that time in the society. So people from all the religion used to come to the Khanqa of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi, took the bath in the hands of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi. The three things which was very famous about Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi was the Khanqa of Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi rahmatullah alayhi was known as the university in which the people come from all over the world and get the education. And Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi give the education to everybody without any charges. 4,000 professors, 300 qawwals was presented in the Khanqa of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi all the time. And the second thing which was famous about Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi was the Langar Khana. In the Langar Khana of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi, the 70 quintals of salt was used in the langar of one day. Around 280 kg of salt was used in the Khanqa of Mehboob Ilahi. So you can imagine how big was the Langar Khana and how much big scale Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi used to feed the people. Even now also in the Bargah of Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi rahmatullah alayhi, people from all over the city come here and get the food from the Khanqa of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi. And third thing which was famous by Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi was the Sama, the Qawwali. This is the form of the meditation in the Chishti silsila, but that was in the peak in the time of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi, because Hazrat Amir Khusro rahmatullah alayhi wrote the several kalams on Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi, on Huzur Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all over the world, wherever the mahfil starts, the Sama Mahfil starts, that will start by the kalam of Hazrat Mehboob Ilahi and Hazrat Amir Khusro rahmatullah alayhi, and that ends with the kalams of Mehboob Ilahi and Hazrat Amir Khusro rahmatullah alayhi. Basically, the main thing of Piri and Muridi system which Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi emphasized a lot was the respect. This is the main thing. If you have the respect, you have everything. If you don't have respect, you will get nothing. Your all ibadats are, there is no use of making the ibadat. Useless is that if you are making the ibadat without any respect. There are the three steps about which Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi educated us. Fana fi Shaykh, Fana fi Rasul, then Fana fi Allah. Now the word is the Fanaf Sheikh means. The Fanaf Sheikh means you have to perish yourself in the feet of your Pir or Murshid. Once upon a time, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi sat in the Khanqa and he saw the dog. And he stood up to give the respect to that dog. When the dog disappeared, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah sat again. When he came again, he again stood up for the respect of that dog. Then when he again disappeared, he again sat down. Then on the third time when he saw that dog again, he again stood up. When he again disappeared, Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah sat down. So murids of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah asked to Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah, why you are giving too much respect to the dog? So Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah said, we saw the dog which looks similar to this dog. So when we saw this dog, we think about our Pir Khana. So this is my duty to give the respect to that thing who gave me the clue or which remembered me to the streets of Hazrat Baba Fariduddin Ganjshakar rahmatullah alayhi. So this is the love. This is the Fanaf Sheikh. Then once you will get this step, when you will put your step on the Fanaf Sheikh level, then you automatically love Huzur Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And once you start to love Huzur Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you will get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the teachings of Huzur Mahbub Ilahi. This is taught in a very different manner in the Khanqa of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah. Until now also the people from all over the world come here, listen the Sama here, get the education from here and get the langar from the Khanqa of Mahbub Ilahi. So this is the custom, rituals and the things which are still in the continuance since the last 700 years. Inshallah till the Qayamat, the people will get and benefit by the personality of Hazrat Mahbub Ilahi. When the Allama Iqbal came for the ziyarat of Mahbub Ilahi, he wrote for Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi, farishte padhte hain jisko wo naam hai tera, badi janab teri faiz aam hai tera, तेरी लहद की ज़ियारत है ज़िंदगी दिल की, मसीह और खज़र से ऊंचा मकाम है तेरा, सितारे इश्क के तेरी कशिश से कायम है, निज़ाम महर की सूरत निज़ाम है तेरा. So when you will read the tasawwuf, the personality of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayhi is unique. That's why there is one grave of daughter of Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan's daughter Jehan Ara is buried in the feet of Hazrat Mahbub Ilahi because she want to spend their whole life in the Khanqa of Hazrat Ghaus Pak, Hazrat Khwaja Moinuddin Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullah alayh. First he went for the ziyarat of Hazrat Moinuddin Chisti rahmatullah alayh, and from the Mazar Sharif of Hazrat Khwaja Moinuddin Chisti rahmatullah alayh, she got the basharat that we also have the Mehboob in our silsila. That is the Mehboob of Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya rahmatullah alayh, Mehboob Ilahi. You can go, that is the one and the same thing. You are spending your life in the Khanqa of Mehboob Subhani, that is Hazrat Khwaja Sheikh Moinuddin Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullah alayh. So then she came here and she spent their whole life in the feet of Hazrat Mahbub Ilahi, and she used to sweep the floors with their hairs. So at last she also buried in the feet of Hazrat Mahbub Ilahi.
Kalaman, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. I'm hoping that at some point I'm going to end up traveling with you again on a very similar series. Soon. Because one thing's about something else. When you're traveling, I think the company also on the trip. So you have the aspect of going to historical sites, understanding the history, understanding the very nature of your trip. The spiritual aspects is there. But then you have the evenings where some of us pull out a cigarette and some of us pull out a coffee and we sit and we become friends.
Yes.
And prophetically, when we travel, we know that it's one of the places that we get to learn people is when we travel with people.
Yes, I mean, we learned a lot. We kind of became a family. I think the thing was it was the family that we formed a family, although it was 29 people, but it was quite a big family, and we missed each other when we got back home.
Correct,
Because
yes.
we thought of each other, and you know, I've been on many trips, and I've been like probably 14 or 50 trips overseas. But at least this, all my trips, I got a little photo here, I got a little photo there, I've got a few videos, like you're saying. But this will be a journey that I'll keep, and when my grandkids and great-grandkids grow up one day, they can see where their grandfather or great-grandfather treaded.
Correct, yes. So, Uncle Ahmed, thank you for joining us. I'm hoping to travel with you soon.
Inshallah, it would be a pleasure. And I'm waiting for the next trip.
Of course, and I think that's what many viewers are. Well, for you right now, it's about the next episode as we continue this very journey through India, exploring the very detailed history, people, sights, smells and sounds of India.